Blah 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 blah. Hello everybody, welcome to I'll Tell You What TV, the unofficial F1 podcast, where we are going to actually start today's show off with a little bit of a video, because we may be chatting a little bit about the French Grand Prix, but before we do, I do want to play a little video, so hopefully Steve and James have got their videos ready to press play, and we will hit play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, I don't really want to see this replay, I'm missing the action. Come on, turn this replay off, I'm missing the action. Turn this replay. Oh, fucking miss the action now! Fuck's sake! Slap 17. I'm bored.
Didn't need his balletic touch on the brake pedal, that one, did it? The DRS, they're going to have to shorten that next year. That's too powerful. They need to shorten the availability, make it start later.
Well, you could just get rid of it and use Dick. Yeah, think about that. Oh, fucking miss the action now! Just been thinking, who would pay to watch this? Jesus Christ. Dog shit.
I don't think he's going to get very far. Pushing for more than this question.
I could, but it's not good for the tyres, so no.
Probably a bit of daylight between his tyres and the side of the track. Right, what would you do?
Fucking hell, come on.
Started the game on Carlos Sainz.
Come on, Lando, let's smack into your teammate. Let's have...
I can't do anything. I'm just waiting for Carlos to do anything. So if you want to tell him to pick up the face, then just do that. I'm just stuck behind him.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not Sainz's fault. It's the fault of whichever twat said, let's have these regulations where your car cannot follow another fucking car. Fuck's sake! All you have is drivers going, I can't get through! Move him out of my way! This is the problem you have when you've got too many fucking people with interests in the sport rather than the sport being run by somebody who says, fucking, these are the rules, turn up, if you don't want to turn up, fuck off.
So
Oh, this is going to be so close between this battle here. Oh, Lando, can you hold them off? There's 3 cars coming up behind you that are a lot quicker. Oh, this is going to be such a good battle to watch. Yeah, they really are gaining. This is a good 4-way battle here. For that Lando, Ricciardo, Raikkonen and then Hulkenberg. This is going to be so close. Oh, here we go, we're going on to that long straight now. Is Ricciardo close enough? What? I know this is close. But Lando's got a problem. Let's have a little look. This is what we're going to watch now. This is all we've got to watch. So rather than watching the battle, we're watching this. Wow! Fucking brilliant! Oh, there's so much action going on here. Look at this. Meanwhile, oh yeah, Leclerc's still behind Bottas, but let's keep watching. Yeah. Oh, what? Look at this. How close is it? A 10 behind Hulkenberg. Oh, what a fantastic bit of racing. Yeah, cheers, Crofty. Cheers. Oh, well done, Lewis. Well done, Lewis. Oh, but yeah. Oh, what a fantastic bit of racing there to watch on the last lap.
Who is going to be able to stop this man?
Who cares?
All in there. The word that springs to my mind is masterclass.
And the word that springs to my mind is fucking boring.
That certainly looks like he's been through things today.
Well, he was put under pressure for the last couple of laps, certainly. He's under pressure because he's up against a teammate who's a multiple five-time world champion.
Hey, Valtteri, I've got to say, that was the most boring race. Yes, it was so boring. I was watching on the TV.
Give it another go.
Yeah, just absolute. I've got to say, back in my day, no, listen to me, that was dog shite. That was.
This year with the regulations.
Yeah, the regulations are shite.
Sure, Patrick Bottas has never been asked by a world champion what his weight is there. Racing. Here comes Lewis Hamilton to the cool-down room.
No, there wasn't much happening in the race. Nothing happening in the race. Hey, Lewis, well done. That was fucking boring, I tell you. I watched it. Oh, Charles. Almost. Oh, Lewis. This kid here, he's got some good hair. Yeah. Yeah, that's youth for you. Hey. This is the best part of the race. This is all you pay for your Sky Sports subscription for. A bit of, you see my hat?
Valtteri about the tyre situation on the restart from the virtual safety car, and Valtteri, admitting that he found it hard.
Yeah, I think we fuck over the spot for the sake of a Ferrari brand. Who gives a shit?
Oh, there's the review. See you next week.
Oh, I tell you, what? That is Formula One at its shittiest.
I've got to admit, right?
I've got to admit, my personal feelings. That race were almost as bad as that race where there were only 6 cars at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. That's as bad as it was for me.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing race.
Yeah.
So
did Jackie Stewart.
I can't even bring myself to be sort of sitting on the fence and, well, look at it this way. It was fucking boring. And I would challenge any one of the drivers or anyone in the FIA or anyone in the fucking that works for the FIA fucking media side of things to sit through that race and watch it and not be bored fucking shitless and then not lose their fucking temper on that last lap. Because
and do you know what though? Yeah. They don't even have to pay to fucking watch it either.
No, they get paid to fucking do it. I mean, us three are sat there watching TV. You can pretty much guarantee we all did exactly the same thing on that last lap. We're like, come on, okay, a little bit of excitement. It may make up for all of the pain. What the fuck am I looking at these two for?
Did you hear what Hulkenberg said afterwards as well, when he was in the pen?
I didn't. I heard what Ricardo said.
That's what I meant, Ricardo. Sorry. Yeah. At least he got to see a bit of action, and then he found out it wasn't even on TV. He was like, what? What do you mean it wasn't shown on TV?
Yeah. So who were they looking at then? Well, Valtteri and Charles not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I understand, we always say, because obviously we're part of Steve's racing league, we always say, look, if the front guys are close, they take precedent over the rest. Yeah. However, there were a clear difference. Lando Norris had problems with his car.
Yep.
And it was quite clear following it. I think they were an onboard with somebody, and Anthony Davidson was saying, oh God, look, the diffs are not working. You could see him fighting at the wheel.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like,
all right then, James.
There's a massive problem here.
Did you think the same as I did at that point? Right, they need to get rid of diffs because the way Lando's having to drive that car is proper.
Yeah.
That's proper driving.
Exactly.
And he was doing it.
You keep a diff, but you don't have variable diff settings during the race.
You can't adjust it. I mean,
you have it set and that's it.
Yeah, because that for me, I mean, any questions about Lando Norris's ability, I think went through the roof in that situation. Because admitted when he said his engineer says, right, you can't use DRS, I thought, all right, yeah, he's just getting screwed over it. And then it obviously escalated into, no, your steering's going to get heavy and the rear end's going to be unstable. And you got hydraulic, and he says the steering's already heavy. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, are his arms like strong enough to turn a wheel that isn't assisted?
But, I mean, when he was told he was not to use DRS, I was like, I was actually thinking, oh, that's the team's way of saying don't overtake Sainz. Even though at this point in time you're faster than him, don't overtake him.
Yeah, I thought that.
So yeah, we could say get rid of diffs or have a diff set.
And it's locked.
Have it locked to one position.
Yeah.
And then that's what you have to go into the race with.
Yep.
Plus, get rid of power steering.
Mm-hmm.
You really would see people sweating then, wouldn't you?
Well, it's something that Hamilton has said. He wants to find himself in that situation where when he gets out of the car, he knows he's had to work hard for that.
Yeah.
And half the time he gets out of the car and feels he could go and do another race.
Yeah. We don't feel like that after a race on a Thursday, that's for sure.
No, that's because we're all faggots.
Yeah, well, that is true. We are. I've been contemplating getting on a...
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. Not me. I'm not fat.
We'll ask Vicky, shall we? How many cookies did you bake the other day, James?
How many beds have you broke, James?
But, I mean, to be fair, I was watching Lando Norris and in all fairness, right, the French Grand Prix, you could watch lap 1 and the last lap, that's the whole race. And that, for me, if it was Monaco, I could say, look, it's Monaco, it's understandable. But it's not Monaco. It's a fucking racetrack. And we said it last week. I know I said it last week and you guys kind of agreed. It's not a track for F1 cars to race around. You can't race around there with this current car. And they shouldn't be going to racetracks that do not allow for overtaking, because we knew that was going to happen. You're not going to see overtakes in the first sector. And did we see any overtakes in the first sector? No. We saw a few DRS overtakes down the main straight, but even that was way too fucking easy. It wasn't exciting to watch. They were already miles ahead before the corner. Did we see any overtaking in the final sector? No, we didn't. So that's not a race. So I would challenge any of the teams, the drivers, to work out what James is doing.
Yeah, we did. We got some drivers. I got Abby to ride my...
What are you? watching.
Sorry, I was just turning off Grand Tour. I left it playing.
Oh, right, okay. I've forgotten. Yeah, I challenge anyone in F1, all aspects of it, to watch that race and go, good and that. I mean, if I was Chase Carey, I'd be knocking on some fucking doors and going, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. You guys get no decision in any fucking rules from here on forward. And that'd be to the fucking team managers, owners, fucking owners of Ferrari, whoever it may be. It would be a case of, look, we're changing these fucking rules because if we don't, we ain't getting any money coming in. Because
if we don't change the rules, we ain't got a sport. Because if you had a full season racing at that track with these cars, you would have no viewers behind it.
Well, let's put it this way. How much do people on average spend going to the Silverstone Grand Prix? Well, to give a bit of an example, if you're going for the weekend and staying in a hotel, you're looking at spending about £1,500 to £2,000. If you're camping, then it's probably going to be about half that. But even half that is a fucking lot of money. And after watching the French Grand Prix, I would honestly go, yeah, I would. I'd say, you know what, I'll get my money back, and what I'll do is the week before the race, I might be tempted to spend about £100, right, to get Sky installed with all the sports package and then cancel it with 7 days later after the race. I would have saved myself a shitload of money. I wouldn't have got rained on, and I wouldn't have been bored fucking shitless. However,
you might still be, but you still might be bored.
Well, yeah, true. However, we may have the same thing as we had last year, where when it got to Silverstone was a fucking brilliant race because it's a racetrack you can race around.
Yeah.
France is not one of those races, and to be fair, James, I mean, most people won't know this, but
sorry.
Since Sunday, James has been dying. Since Sunday, James has basically been saying, I'm not doing a podcast about F1 because I've had enough of F1. I'm done with it. I'm finished with it till 2021. And then he started tweeting Mansell and bragging that he'd got an F1 podcast and found out, shit, I'm going to have to do it. True?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't get a reply from old Nige.
Yeah.
You're too busy reading all your tweets.
Yeah. I didn't get a reply from him, but bloody hell, I got a lot of views on Twitter, like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a couple of videos went over 1,000.
Yeah.
Which were pretty mental.
Well, you know what? I might have
people saying, "Oh, do this every race."
I might have to send you the link for the full video that I showed at the start of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know at I think it was the last race. No, it was a couple of races ago where partway through the race I messaged you two saying, look, I nodded off for 10, 15 laps. Did anything happen? And you were like, no. Now that was different to this weekend, right? Because that weekend I'd had hardly any sleep. I was fucked. This weekend I was pretty well rested. I was ready for the race. But I kept fucking getting so bored I was nodding off. I had to keep standing up and walking around to do stuff to stop myself from falling asleep, just in the hope that something exciting might happen.
Well, I'm going to blame Formula One for me putting on weight, because for me to stay awake, I just eat.
Well, interestingly, I tried that, but the more I ate, the more I wanted to sleep as well. So, I mean, I blame. I was going to say I blame James. I blame F1 for forcing James into making 50 cookies because of his new dieting rule. Whereas if he wants a snack, he's got to make it. So, how many cookies was it you made, James?
50.
And how many did you eat yesterday?
20.
Yeah.
How many have you got left today?
5.
Oh.
I mean,
I had a bit of a sugar rush to be fair.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's something that I do want to mention, right? And that is, I don't blame Mercedes for the current situation, because one of the things that I've been keeping an eye on over the last few days is, for example, Lewis Hamilton coming out after the race and basically saying, look, I understand if people found that race particularly, but sorry about all the noise in James's kitchen. He's hunting for more cookies, that's what it is. yeah, he comes out after the race saying, look, I'm sorry if it was very boring, I can understand it, but don't blame the drivers and don't blame the teams. We're working to a set of rules. Now, that on Sunday was pretty much what was put out in the media. The next day, the headlines of it had changed a little bit. Today, the headlines have changed to Lewis Hamilton defending boring Formula One in the Mercedes dominant situation. And I'm like, that's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Well, that's the media trying to get people
Views.
view that. Well, that's just the state of the media, and that's why I don't trust BBC. And I've I've revoked my TV license because I just can't stand BBC because they've stooped to that level of clickbait titles where when you actually do a bit of research into the story, you realise it's completely different. Steve, you fighting your dog?
No, he wants to go out for a wee. Let's go outside for a wee. Back in a sec.
No worries. So, I mean, I look at it, what Hamilton says is right, and basically what he said is that he wants to take a more active role in having an opinion and having not a say, but being able to give his opinion on making the racing more exciting. Now, I like that one of the drivers is sort of stepping up and saying that. But at the same time, the only way it will change is, as we've said before, the FIA turn round and go, right, these are the rules. If you don't like it, fuck off. Because that's the only way that all of the teams will then approach it. They can't go, oh, well, can we have tyres that have got a thinner tread because it works better on our car? Or can we only use 3 engines in a year because we've been using ours for 10 years, so we know ours are okay, and Honda will be fucked, so Red Bull won't be able to do anything about us. So it gets rid of all of that. And in all honesty, I mean, not being daft, you've got Adrian Newey, right? He's very happy at Red Bull. Now, he's already said that he's always looking for another challenge. If I was in the FIA, I'd be saying, right, let's find out what it's going to take for Adrian Newey to design a package of a car to create a regulation around, and you give him the parameters of, we want, yes, that's right, Gizmo, bullshit. We want the parameters of, yes, they've got downforce, but they don't get affected by the dirty air off the car in front. We don't care how you get around it, but that's what we want. We want cars to be able to literally go bumper to bumper and drive. We want the drivers to actually fucking work for it and drive.
Yeah.
And he would be able to come up with something like that.
Of course he would.
And even if he couldn't, he knows the people to go to get the extra ideas, that have got the imagination. And for me, I mean, I've been sort of toying with this, and I mentioned that you'd said, James, that you're done with Formula One. And to be honest, I'm kind of there with you. I mean, one thing I would say is obviously
it's not something that I've wanted to say, but that race just reaffirmed a thought of this is fucking bullshit.
It is. One of the problems, though, is, I mean, I know, obviously we're an F1 podcast, right? And if you're not watching the F1, then we can't really talk F1, and that may bring things to a slight end, because I know with myself, yes, I do this podcast and we talk about F1, and we do talk about other random stuff as well, but talking about the F1 sort of leads us into talking about the other stuff, and I don't know if I've got that much of an interest in anything else that I'd necessarily want to do a podcast about. So I'd find it difficult to get excited about another one. Because in a way, I still want F1 to be the thing that excites me into going, fucking hell, guys, did you see that fucking race? Not, fucking hell, guys, save yourselves 2 hours.
Well, the way I see it is, if F1 is in a bit of a lull at the moment, you've got to stick with it and get through it, so that when it's good, you're there for when it gets good. And you can say, I was there when it was bad, so I can appreciate it now it's good.
Yeah, I'll make James... Here's one for you, James. All right. I'm pretty sure I've heard a certain Yorkshire voice go, well, they're not fucking Star Wars fans because they weren't around when all the shit films were coming out. They all fucked off. If you're a real fan, you go through the rough as well as the smooth. Okay, that's not a Yorkshire accent, but...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just frustrating. It's just proper frustrating.
Maybe one thing. I know we've talked a little bit about it before in the past, and it's not always been something that's been viable, right? But maybe one thing that we could perhaps try. Right now, I'd be up for potentially trying it this weekend, right? And that is, we watch the race while doing a podcast, right? So live on Sunday, and if it's shit, at least we could fucking go, fucking hell, James, have you seen this fucking bullshit? And you go, no, because my internet's fucking 10 seconds slower than yours, you cunt. but
you wind him up by going, what a fucking overtake. It's like, what?
I'd have to go to change his ringtone to a voice that calls Bella to come and lick his face and wake him up. But I mean, maybe doing something like that.
Yeah, something like that would force us to.
Well, not necessarily force, but would bring a situation of, well, you know what? If the race is boring as fuck, at least we can get through it. Because if you think about it, when you came to our parents, when the parents went down, we watched the race. That particular race that day was not that great. But because
what we could do as well, though, and this might be something that James would like to try and do, is not necessarily a full-on commentary of the race, but the parts of the race you can do a bit of a commentary on when somebody's trying to overtake somebody. Okay, nobody can see it from the podcast side of point of view, but you commentate on it in a way that the viewers can visualize it.
Show.
Yeah. So that it's not a commentary of it; it's a discussion of it. But we can put across to our listeners what we're seeing.
Yeah. Here's an example. We're not seeing fuck all because the camera director has decided to watch fucking nobody overtaking nobody while 4 cars are battling, and all we can do is watch the timing screen. James, over to you.
And now we're looking at that woman with the big tits in the fucking crowd again.
or we're looking at somebody in garage
Moonface,
who literally is about to commit suicide.
Yeah. Moonface.
Yeah.
I definitely lost a lot of interest in F1 on Sunday. I mean, the way if your practice sessions and qualifying sessions are more entertaining than your race, you've got a fucking problem. And to be honest, the practice sessions and the qualifying session was a hell of a lot more exciting than the race, because in practice there was people spinning and crashing and doing all kinds of weird shit, and you listen to the commentary teams and it's entertaining. In qualifying it's tense and Vettel's fucking up, and yes, this is going to make for an exciting race. And
just thought of an idea for our listeners, and that is our listeners are going to be into Formula 1 as well. That's why they listen to us. So they're probably going to be wanting to watch the Formula 1, but it means that they probably end up having to listen to us at a later date. But if they want to listen to us live, all they've got to do is sync our podcast into their viewing.
And so mute if they've got
TV. Exactly. Mute the TV and listen to us.
Yeah.
And you won't get any engine noise, but you don't anyway, so you're not... Yeah, we can do that.
A cat's just ran by. There's another one.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I was trying to copy the sound effects.
But, I mean, Yeah, so I know, like I was saying, that James, like since Sunday's been, I'm not interested in doing a podcast about Formula One, and I mean, I hadn't said it, but I am kind of there with you, but at the same time, I am an F1 fan, and it's a little bit like if I could afford to go and watch. I mean, okay, let's say for example. Our local team is Derby County. I'm actually a Man United supporter, but if I could afford it, I would go and watch Derby County as often as possible. And if they were to hit even more of a slump than they've had in recent years, I'd still go because I'd be a fan and I would still go. And I kind of look at it in this way, where I'll still watch it. But what I will find, or have found in the past, is instead of me going, oh, well, you know what, next week's race is at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I either stay up all night or I get up early. Instead, I'll go, fuck it, I'll watch the highlights. And that's the start of that slope of, you know, I'm starting to not give a fuck. That's why I'm not that bothered about watching it live. So, I mean, usually...
It's weird, isn't it? Because
the fuck are you doing, Steve?
That's not me.
It's not me.
Oh, I'm shaking my leg, sorry.
Shaking your leg, yeah, that's what Billy Connolly said. He got a fucking spider down his trousers.
But yeah, I mean, if Chase Carey could hear us, I mean, we're 3 Formula 1 fans that are debating not doing what we like doing because it's so boring. Yeah. And it's not that we don't like talking, and I said that in the comments. It wasn't like I were throwing me toys at Pram as if to say I'm never doing anything again. We're just kind of like, this is just
depressing.
Sucks a bit of my soul away, yeah.
And I mean, I get it, and I think the drivers do. Because, I mean, you think about how many of the drivers that have said that they watch the races afterwards. Fuck me. Could you imagine having... I mean, if you were Lewis Hamilton, right, I could imagine that he's had a race where he's got, you know, I've done fucking really fucking well here. That was a brilliant race. And then if he was to watch it, he'd be bored shitless.
Well, this is what gets me about Lewis Hamilton, though, in that French Grand Prix. He led from start to finish, like he has done in many races. Yet he knew that was a shit race and not very entertaining. How did he know it was a shit and not very entertaining race before he's even seen the replays?
I feel like because he was so bored, he was probably looking at the screens as he was driving on the circuit.
Yeah, and going, he probably, every lap it was like, okay, who's in second? Valtteri, who's in third? Leclerc, who's in fourth? Max. And every lap it was like, all right, who's fifth? Next lap, who's sixth? And then realised, actually, you know what? None of these are fucking changing. Exactly, Gizmo.
He agrees, yeah.
Yeah, it's shit, is what he's saying. So, yeah, I mean, not only that, I mean, some of the best action, I mean, okay, one tiny little bit of praise I'm going to give here to the media team, and it's not necessarily Sky Sports that we're bashing, because they don't get to choose what cameras are showing what at what time. But at least when the fucking Williams were attacking each other, it did show that. But that's because there was absolutely fuck all else happening in the whole of the race. That you did get to see a bit of driving between them two.
But I was kind of thinking throughout the race, the closest battle throughout that race were Hülkenberg and Raikkonen. Like, there were a lot of, what's going on here? And then they'd just find themselves just looking at nobody for ages, and you'd just be like, they're out on their own in the middle of nowhere. And then actually when it did start kicking off, and I've got to say, one thing that I was quite annoyed with.
What, was there only one thing?
Well, I'm not usually a fan, and to be fair, because it's a driver I'm not a fan of, I didn't really care. But Sergio Perez did exactly what the stewards had told him to do if he didn't make the corner at the start, which was to go drive round a bollard and then rejoin. Now, because everybody's bunched up and everybody's going a bit slower than they normally would, why is that his fault?
Interesting that you bring this up, because I got my opinions on this and it's completely the opposite to yours.
But I think, well, I'm sorry, I know that you would kind of think to yourself, if you had a brain, you'd go, well, I wasn't really fighting these, and we're fighting somebody else. So what I'll do is I'll let them back through,
Exactly,
and then I'll carry on. However,
well, his team should have said, "You've gained 2 places. You need to give them back."
Yeah.
So there's that, which is a bit logical. However, what would, at the end of the day, if the FIA have created a penalty situation which hasn't quite worked out correctly because the FIA fucked up, why is it the driver's fault?
Here's why. The driver is not on the racetrack, and you cannot, in any circumstances, gain a position off the racetrack. And that's the key bit of it, you see. I understand what you're saying, and it kind of, I could imagine you linking it into your version of a penalty zone that we'd mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, right?
Yeah.
Now, that particular penalty zone, you with the different sizes of penalty zone that take a little bit longer, it would actually be a very different situation, because chances are you're not going to be overtaking people in that situation. But in this situation, it is kind of one-offs. Now, admittedly, I'm the kind of person that, okay, for example, when we ran a Formula 1 racing league, and in real life at Monza at the second chicane, they brought in the sort of penalty zone there, right, where if you go deep, you got to go straight on round the service road, you can't just cut across the corner. Well, we implemented that into the F1 leagues, but we also, pretty sure we also sort of made it clear that you have to go straight on and rejoin the track safely, but you are also not to gain any positions. So we thought of that, and we're not getting paid to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I would like to think that in the FIA, they go, right, okay, this, or in the driver's briefing, you go, right, guys, at the track this weekend, couple of changes, pit entries changed, because we knew it was a bit of shit last time out, and most of the viewers saw that if there was a problem for a car coming in the pits, they'd end up into the Mercedes garage. So we've changed that for you. Hope you're all happy. But also, we've added a penalty zone in Sector 1. So if you do go deep here, you've got to go through that zone. But bear in mind, guys, you can't gain a position by doing so. Dealt with. Now, if the FIA didn't do that with the drivers, they could still be in the situation of saying, well, look, you overtook cars by being off the track. Yes, you've gone round the penalty zone, but you have overtaken cars by being off the track. So that is clearly gaining an advantage. Now,
I mean, there is the rule in place for if you leave the track, you're not allowed to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, one doesn't negate the other. And even though it is a penalty zone, so to speak, it's not a penalty zone. It's going to take you X amount of time to get through there, because obviously it depends on where you can't.
It's a way of returning you to track more safely. That's the idea of it.
Yeah. But Steve's right in what he said, right? I mean, I can fully understand what you said, James, because he's gone around the area, and I can kind of see, well, I do see where you're coming from, and I can understand that argument, but I can also see it from the rules side of things. But admittedly, again, if I'd have been the steward that day, I would have been on the blower to fucking Racing Point, whatever the fucking called, saying, hey guys, you're fucking knobhead. He's fucking cheated. He needs to give some places back, and if he doesn't do it within the next lap, we're going to give him a 5-second penalty. And if he doesn't do it within 2 laps, we're going to give him a fucking drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
But why didn't that happen? Why did that not happen with Ricciardo at the end when he overtook Raikkonen off the track?
I don't think. Well, it was on the last lap, so there was no opportunity for the FIA to say he needs to give those positions back, right? Because by the time that they'd have been able to have a look at it, the race is done. Okay.
No, but why couldn't his team have said, "Come on, that's not on. Give place back."
I can understand that fully, and in retrospect, yes, that is exactly what his engineer should have done. But having said that, if you've noticed, most of the screens on the pit walls tend to show what is being shown on TV. So they may not have actually seen what he did until after the race.
I know that some teams though do run footage from their own cars during the race, because quite often you hear it on the commentary on the team radio where they say, "Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, it wasn't shown on the footage live."
But that's where it tends to be the bank of staff that is at the home base, where they've got a room full of 30 people watching multiple screens, and one of them's going to be sat there watching the live stream of just the car. So by the time that guy's seen it, relayed the message, or double-checked it, relayed the message, there's not enough time, all right?
To be fair, what was Ricciardo thinking?
Well, yeah, I mean... to be fair, his overtake, the first one, I can kind of understand. I don't know if I'd have given a penalty for that because... Go on, James.
I did think when it said for penalty for forcing Lando off the circuit, I kind of thought to myself...
It wasn't for that, it was for not returning to the track safely.
But how... He returned to the track, right? So what?
While Lando was trying to go around the corner.
While I was trying to go around the corner. But if you actually look at the replay, Ricciardo left the car's width on the outside, so Lando...
It's not the point, though. Lando's on the track, all right? Lando is on the track, Ricciardo isn't. All right? Ricciardo is not supposed to rejoin the track unless it's safe to do so. And he went straight onto the racing line on that apex where Lando's heading for. So he should not have gone back onto the track... because it doesn't matter about how much of a car width is left. He's gone back onto the track where the car wanted to go to, because that's the racing line.
So you're saying he should have cut the corner?
He could quite easily have taken more of the cut of a corner, or stopped and waited for the car to go by and rejoined. It's the fact that he went back onto the track at a point, where the car was coming.
I think in that situation, though, not one racing driver would ever stop to wait to let somebody through when there's another two cars behind.
No, exactly. They wouldn't. Now, I mean, I'd have to have a look at that one again, to be honest, to really analyse what the penalty was for. Because personally, in my memory, Danny Ricciardo runs wide, does go all four wheels off the track. Anybody watching that will know that he's going to try and get back to the track. So if you're the car that is still on the track, you have to be aware and know that that guy has no choice but to try and get to the track. So as much as they have to return safely, you have to give them the room to do so.
I think a driver should be commended for trying to get back on the circuit and not just cut the corner.
Exactly.
All right,
hang on, I've not finished. Lando Norris, from what I can remember, didn't go for the apex of the corner. He did leave just enough room for Danny Ricciardo to be there, but unfortunately he ends up running out of room on the exit of the corner. A bit like Verstappen did in the practice session when Lewis Hamilton fucked up a corner. It slowed down just in time to let Verstappen round turn 5, but unfortunately Verstappen with a slightly different angle, bit put off, ran wide, got a twitch, and off he went. Now, I wouldn't necessarily give a penalty for that. Now, the second one, 100%, he has purposefully driven off the racetrack. Kimi Raikkonen's got his right tyres on the white line, basically saying, you're not overtaking me. He's basically doing what I do to James when we race. He's like, there's no fucking space here, mate. And Danny Ricciardo's like, James said there is.
I kind of think, well, I'm sorry, if you're going to bring us to a shit race circuit where you can do this, I'm going to take advantage, and you can penalise me afterwards if you want. And I think that's the stance that Ricciardo took, because it's like, it's been a pretty boring... If you put yourselves in their position, they're not just doing that lap, they've been in their cars, bored shitless for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Finally, they get to go wheel to wheel. They're just going to go mental. Yeah. Because it's like, well, we're at a track where there's... Other than the stewards, there's nothing stopping me taking a few liberties.
Yeah.
So they're just doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had grass either side, problem solved. Stewards don't have to do it.
Which one of you two said a moment ago that if a car goes off track It should be up to the other cars to make sure they can return back to the track.
No. Right, it was me, but that's not exactly what I said. What I was said.
Okay, what did you mean?
What I meant was, right, if you're going wheel to wheel, right, whether it's being overtaken or you're doing the overtaking, if the other car goes off the track, a bit like Danny Ricciardo did, right, so he is slightly in front, you can visibly see that guy has gone off the track a little bit, right? You should know as a driver that car has to return to the track. And yes, it has to do it safely. But does that mean that Lando Norris can just go and put his car right next to that white line where Danny Ricciardo has to, by the rules, try and return back to the track? No, I don't think that's right. I think the driver should look at that situation and go, fucking hell, he's gone deep. I better give him a little bit of room. Not just so that he's safe to be able to get back on the track, but so that you're safe when he's getting back on the track.
But the problem Norris had was the other two cars that were behind him. He was still having to defend from them two, and by the fact that he had to avoid Ricciardo coming back onto the track, he lost 2 more positions.
Not my problem. Blame who the fuck's Max Chilton? What the fuck's it got to do with Chilton?
Hey, I tell you what, TV. I watched IndyCar this week.
And Max Chilton was in it.
And he had on his helmet, what's it? #JV17.
Yeah, exactly. I told you he'd have that on it.
But his crash helmet's blue, not black.
Yeah.
You should have tweeted him and said, why the fuck have you got that on your helmet?
It's got fuck all to do with you. There's something else I was going to mention as well. Okay, yeah, right. The Danny Ricciardo, the second overtake. I mean, that's a slam dunk penalty. But yeah. I'm interested to know, right? Okay, in the gaming world, if that was exactly the same situation and you was in Kimi Raikkonen's car, would you have moved over and given Ricciardo the room?
That's what I was going to come on to about if a car's gone off track, should you give them space to come back on track? And if I was Kimi Raikkonen, I'd have gone, right, you've gone off the track to overtake me, you're not coming back on the track, you've got to keep going past me.
Right. Yeah, and then you can crash into me at the apex, and it's all your fault.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I agree with you, but they're 2 very different scenarios, right? Danny Ricciardo has purposefully chosen to go over there. He had the option to go left, he went right. He knew that's off the track. He chose to go there. The one with Norris, he didn't choose to go there. It's where he ended up, right? So there's a bit of a difference there. So if I'd have been Kimi Raikkonen, I would have stayed right next to the edge of that track.
That's what I said. I'd have stayed there.
Yeah, until they're like, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that they're
two.
No, I am. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that they're 2 different situations. So in that situation where Ricciardo was chosen to purposefully go off the track to overtake, I'd be like, oh, fuck you cunt. Hopefully there's a fucking bollard up here you can hit.
Made of concrete like on GT?
Yeah.
Like it used to be on GT.
Yeah. We used to do that actually at Monza. The brake mark.
I found one. I found a concrete one on one of the circuits. I was just debating whether I should let people know which one it is.
No, you
and
shouldn't.
where it is.
There's almost a concrete one at Monza which we're going to on Thursday at the chicane. If that ends up in the centre of the circuit, it'll send you flying.
You're on about the barriers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, in practice, right, James, you were. I don't think you were in the lobby at this point. I don't even think Dave was.
I was.
Was doing practice, and I was being followed by a fluffy planet, right? And he was about 2 car lengths off my rear, coming round Parabolica, and I thought, I'll see if he'll follow me for slipstream up the main straight. So I pulled towards the right as if to go up like close to the pit wall, but I was aiming directly at the pit wall. And at the last minute, I jerked out of the way, and he didn't see it coming. He went smack straight into it.
Right, well, that's a tip for next Thursday.
Yeah. So I mean, if we were in Raikkonen's position, we'd have all done exactly the same thing. But I mean, I think me and Steve might have a different answer to James here. If James had been in Ricciardo's position, he'd have done exactly the same as Ricciardo did.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
And it's not it's not just because I want to be a dickhead. It's probably because I've been so bored, and it was only a bit of action I was going to get, so I don't quite care after that length.
I wouldn't have done it, and I'll tell you why I wouldn't have done it. That would have pissed Renault off.
Yeah,
and you're getting paid. And you're getting paid by Renault.
Yeah,
great opportunity to bag some points over Norris. Okay, you can't do anything about science, but you've got 2 cars that can get past Norris. And what do you go and do? Put one of them even further back out of the points.
Yeah.
But Renault, I think, are going to be quite happy that it wasn't just a fluke that car were decent. In the McLaren as well, it proved it's a decent engine.
Yeah.
And at least they've got a good barometer with McLaren to go off of.
I mean, McLaren, in all fair, of all of the disappointment of the French Grand Prix, McLaren were fucking brilliant. Finally. The most boring race, and they're good. But they were legitimately best of the rest in qualifying, pretty much best of the rest in the race.
Yeah, I mean, if Norris hadn't had his fault, they both would have been best of the rest.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. Say best of the rest. They both beat Gasly.
Well, yeah.
The only reason why Gasly scored a point was because Ricciardo dropped out the points because of his penalty.
Gasly should not be in that car. I've said it from round 2.
I don't get it. Okay, I understand. Once again, he started on the wrong compounded tyre because that's what he ended up trying to qualify on. Don't qualify on it. Try and qualify on the best tyre to start the race on. If you don't get inside the top 10 because you're not on the correct tyre, at least you can still start the race on the correct tyre.
Exactly. I mean,
like we've said this before, right? If that had been Max Verstappen or anybody else in the top teams, they could start at the back of the fucking grid and still get to 6th place.
Yep.
Yet he starts 8th or 9th and finishes 11th, and then promoted back up to 10th because of Ricciardo. But
I mean, I was surprised in qualifying in Q2 when they put the medium compound tyre on. All of a sudden, it was like, hang on a minute, these tyres are fucking quick, and people were going for a couple of flying laps, so they weren't worried about tyre wear on those tyres. And then not being daft, if you are Gasly and you're coming out of the pits and your team's basically said, look, we're giving you the soft compound tyre because we don't think you're fast enough to get through, that's going to kill your confidence. So no wonder he's doing shit. But I wonder if there's something else going on in there as well, right? I mean, this is just pure conspiracy theory that I'm making up right now, but Pierre Gasly was used as the guinea pig in Toro Rosso with multiple engines and multiple penalties and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And basically his season was basically destroyed by being the guinea pig. So I'm wondering if that's pretty much what he's doing at the moment. Maybe Red Bull have said to him, look, it's going to take you a bit of time to get up to speed. We can see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use you as a bit of a guinea pig, right? And it's next season that we're going to be looking at you hitting the fucking ground running, mate. And if you don't, you're out.
I agree with you. Sorry, James, go on.
Red Bull is a piranha club. And I don't think that look at Danny Kvyat's career first time round. He didn't produce, he were out.
The thing is, the Red Bull haven't got the stock of drivers that they used to have.
But the thing is, when Danny Kvyat was there the first time round, they had the opportunity to go for drivers or constructors championships. Now they don't. But one thing I was going to mention, though, about Gasly is he's now being looked at against his teammate, which is Max Verstappen, right? But who was he? What was his benchmark last season? Brendan Hartley, and he's not in Formula One anymore.
Yeah.
So let's just, I don't want to say anything too bad about Brendan Hartley, but anybody as a teammate against Brendan Hartley would have looked good. Just because Brendan Hartley had a proper shit season.
Oh, I don't know.
And a lot of it wasn't his own fault.
Hang on, us 3 fat cunts wouldn't even be able to get in the car, so we wouldn't look very good against him, would we?
I bet I could do a better lap than Gasly.
I was on about Brendan Hartley, making Gasly look good.
I'd be willing to put that tenner on the table.
I'd probably kick him in his leg first.
Yeah.
And then jump in car.
A faster lap round Aldi's chocolate aisle, yeah.
I just want to go through a couple of comments on YouTube because we've got a few that have come in. Steve F1 saying sorry, that's about IndyCar, so I'm not going to mention that, but he's saying it's more exciting. Just put grass on the outside of the corners. Drivers wouldn't deliberately drive off track then. 100% agree. 100% agree.
Put walls there.
Well, yeah.
Yep. Or like what you've got on Monza on the GT game, massive. Put a bit of Tech Pro barrier so to cushion the blow, but then have them proper heavy barriers. So Danny Ricciardo or whoever, if they went off the circuit, they'd pay a penalty, which is probably putting them out of the race. And I know Formula One's in this era of, we want drivers to continue.
No,
I don't want a driver to continue when they're just getting away with murder. I saw too much of that when Vettel winning his championships, getting away with murder every week.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, one of the things I like about watching Formula E is the fact that there's nowhere for the drivers to go.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If they fuck up, they're in a wall. But not only that, one of the things I really do like about Formula E is if you fuck up a chicane and you've got to go off the track to cut the corner, you must come to a standstill and then go again.
Yeah,
that makes sure that you definitely do not benefit from cutting a corner.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, for instance, they brought that into Formula One, where they've got those return to track. Yeah, like with Perez, he could get all the way to the end of that return to track part. Just before he returns to the circuit, he comes to a stop and then goes onto the circuit when he knows it's safe.
Yeah.
Because he's come to a stop, he's not going to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
They could do that at the Monza one, at the same one at Canada. Yeah, just why not? Before they return to track, they must come to a standstill.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more comments for you from here. It's Rich Bignell, which is Rich Blue, saying, note to self, don't follow Steve. Steve F1 saying hello to Drew and saying, tell us your thoughts on the French GP. And Drew saying, I literally fell asleep, guys, watching the race. Actually, I fell asleep twice. I woke up once, then fell asleep again. New record. Let's see, Rich saying, quite amazed you've managed to get nearly an hour of podcast from the last race. Good effort. Yeah, we've not done too bad, actually, considering that James didn't want to talk about it. Steve F1 saying, the video at the start is class. Yes, it is. If you've not seen it, make sure you do go back to the start of the video and watch that when we're done. Drew saying, race in a massive supermarket parking lot. I thought he was going to say in a supermarket then, and that would have worked with Steve's comment about the Aldi chocolate aisle.
I bet you, tenner, we could have put on a way better race at your local Tesco.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And that's just with shopping carts, not with a Formula 1 car.
Do you know, right, my favourite part of the Grand Prix was right at the start when Crofty says, I don't think we're going to be talking about this return to track from Perez for much longer.
That's straight to it. Yeah,
straight away. Been referred to the stewards for an unsafe return to track. What?
Yeah, that was pretty funny, actually. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's I mean, what can you say? Now, I know I've taken a few pictures of things over the last few days. Oh yeah, Danny Ricciardo after the race had tweeted, I'm at a threat of a Twitter rant, but I'll save it. Sorry, I am a threat of a Twitter rant, but I'll save it. Hope everyone was entertained. Lando Norris replied saying, I was entertained. Okay, let's see. This was from Gunter Steiner, or Banter Steiner, on Twitter before the race. He posted, Operation Rulebook today. Apparently you don't have to finish first to win, so we let other teams fight for it and risk penalties. If we finish clean behind them, we'll still end up on the podium to collect that fucking ugly gorilla.
Hey, did you two both notice the fact that the gorilla's arms moved, the one that was next to the podium?
When you messaged us saying, well, at least the gorilla's arms moved, I was like, what? And then I saw them moving.
It was like cheering. It was like going, yay! And then put his arms down, yay!
Good job.
I think I'm going to have to vacate the area because I think Love Island's coming on.
No, you can't go and watch Love Island.
No.
Love's
I'm
in the
going
air.
upstairs, is what I'm saying.
Every sign, every sound.
What? Yeah, you want one?
James,
Yeah.
tell her she's gone down in my estimations watching that shit.
No, I love it.
Yeah, but you've always gone down in my estimations. But now Vicky has.
That's my new sponsor on the car, Love Island.
Keenal.
Nice! Oh, Love Island. Right.
See, this is why
stop
James is
making chamomile
losing love out of Formula One. It's because he's being drawn in by the nudity of half-naked bodies on beaches on Love Island.
Some of them are like scary.
What, women? Yeah,
It
we
could
know.
be a new intro theme.
Have you asked her to record it for you so you can watch it later?
No, it's on demand. I'll be able to watch it later tonight. When
You're not put your old VHS in cassette recorder.
Oh, bloody hell! You can afford a VHS. I've only got Betamax.
Betamax are more expensive, I'll have you know.
Oh, I used to remember when I was a young kid. I used to love me Thomas the Tank Engine. My best episodes recorded on an old Betamax. Some prat burgled us. He went and took me Thomas the Tank tapes.
Oh,
what a bastard!
What an arsehole. Okay, now.
I bet it was Kevin Magnuson.
Probably was.
Do you know that some of the original Disney VHS are going for sale for like $1.5 now?
It's more than that. It's more than that. There's some.
I had one off this Chinese girl, or she might be Vietnamese or something. She was called Grace, and I were only about 4. I think she was my first friend when I went to school. And she lent me this VHS, but you know when VHSs were in massive boxes that were way bigger than the VHS.
Yeah.
Where they were like a bit oversized, of Fantasia. Put it in VHS player, blank, like Cheers. But apparently it worked, but just not on our region of VHS players.
You had to cover up one of the covers on the end, gaps on the end for it to work.
Right.
Yeah, you see. What I was going to say, there was something I was going to mention as well.
I love how we so swiftly
moved away.
Yeah. Let's try and get back in a minute.
Well, in a minute, yeah, because I've got a little. You know, last week I told a little story about the guy that would have to ask his sister a question. Oh, that was a good thing. Sorry, Drew's just reminded us. Sorry, not Drew, Rich, mentioning about Thomas the Tank Engine. He's saying they ruined Thomas the Tank Engine, by the way. You'd be fuming. Trust me, probably would be. As Steve, I'm sure, has mentioned before that our granddad was involved with Thomas the Tank Engine in one way or another years ago. But
I still reckon Gordon's face was based on Grandad.
Could quite possibly. But what I was going to say was, you mentioned about the Disney tapes. I was seeing, I think it was yesterday. I'm being made to listen to Love Island. I can't cope with it. Can't cope with it. What was I going to say? I was seeing yesterday that it's more than 1,500. Some of them are going for. Some of them have been getting close to tens of thousands.
Oh dear hell.
Yeah.
Thomas the Tank Engine?
No, not Thomas the Tank Engine. No, Disney.
Disney VHSs.
In all fairness, I wouldn't be surprised if original Thomas the Tank Engine trains could reach that value, if not more. Right?
Well, it's all digital shine now, isn't it?
It is, yes. But yeah, it's the Disney stuff. But anyway, last week I told you guys a little story about a guy talking to his mate about being a virgin. Well, this week I've got another one. I've got another story, but it's not of the same two people. So I'll tell you this little story. So why did I get divorced? Well, last week was my birthday. My wife didn't wish me a happy birthday. My parents forgot, and so did my kids. I went to work, and even my colleagues didn't wish me a happy birthday. As I entered my office, my secretary said, "Happy birthday, boss," and I felt so special. She asked me out for lunch, and after lunch, she invited me to her apartment. We went there and she said, "Do you mind if I go into the bedroom for a minute?" Okay, I said, and she came out 5 minutes later with a birthday cake, my wife, my parents, my kids, my friends and my colleagues all yelling "Surprise!" while I was waiting on the sofa naked. Which sounds like something I would actually do, to be honest. But not if I was married, but anyway. Right, okay, James, you said we should get back to the F1 now. I suppose there's one simple way of doing that. Should we see how shit we did in the fucking predictions, James?
Yeah, while you get that sorted, I'm going to try and get past the kit and go upstairs. So apologies if you remember that, you might have to shout over it.
The sound is like poison in my ears.
Clearly hasn't That's the thing, like, yeah, I did like Joe. We were completely different, but we really liked each other and there was a connection there. But when he left...
That is so fake, isn't it?
If your dream guy walked through that door, would you be able to get to know him? Of course I would. How is that fair that Lucy's here and you're on this one? How's that fair?
I said this and then I said that, and you know what I mean, yeah?
I didn't know they're Australian, Steve. See, Rich will be happy. He's listening to the podcast, but can still hear Love Island.
He's like, "No, James, turn it off. I can't listen to the podcast and that."
Yeah, I saved it for later.
You can't hear it now. There you go. You're okay with it.
Fucking thank fuck for that.
Stop splitting your wrists, Rich.
Right, okay, so the predictions, let's see how we got. I mean, actually, before we do get on to the predictions, there is something I want to say, actually, and that is, yes, the French Grand Prix was boring as fuck, nobody can deny that, but what I do want to kind of try and put out there is, there's something that could be happening that may not be appreciated because of the current situation in Formula One, and that is that Mercedes are pretty much on the verge of groundbreaking records and history. The car that they have produced to win all of the first races, 8 races. I mean, you look back to the last car that was... could have muted for that, James. Fucking hell.
It's not me.
It's not me.
It's not me.
It's Steve.
Get out of it. It's not me.
Steve, stop pissing.
Alright, I'm sat on my squeaky chair still.
That's your squeaky toilet seat.
The dog's just gone mad at my squeaky chair.
Yeah. Right, anyway, back to the seriousness of my conversation here. Yeah, we are on the verge of Mercedes pretty much stamping their legacy as creating one of the best ever Formula One cars and breaking multiple records for amount of victories, amount of points. The job that they have done in producing their car technically is the best any F1 team has ever done. Because even, I was going to say, look back to the Brawn days. That Brawn was ridiculously better than everything else on that grid. But that only won 6 of the first 7. The Mercedes have won every race so far.
Yeah. But I think it's one of them stats where it won't really take hold until about 10 years' time, when we can look back on it and go, bloody hell, how dominant were Mercedes? I think it's just that way in all of sport. I mean, I think I can understand where Lewis Hamilton's head's at. It's like, yeah, I might be doing really, really good, but it means nothing if nobody can see me fighting for it.
Yeah. Well, it's like after qualifying when he's there with Leclerc and he says, "Yeah, come on, bring the fight to me. Bring the fight tomorrow." Because he wants to be seen to be beating the rest in the fight.
Yeah. He knows what Sebastian Vettel looks like after winning 4 world titles where nobody could touch him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people said when Vettel won them, it was all down to the car. Hamilton wants to be known for winning it because of him and not just the car.
Yeah. I mean, one plus side is that for the last couple of seasons, Ferrari have actually had the better car. They've just not had the better driver. Which you can kind of... you look at last season, how many times... I think, was it, Steve, you found out how many times or how many points Vettel lost himself last year. And it was massive. So it was the driver not maximising his opportunity. Whereas, okay, this year... it is clear that Mercedes have got the best car by a long shot. They have done the best job. It is up to the other teams to match them, to catch them, to beat them. But that's where the Hamilton effect will then come into it. Because personally, every driver on the grid, you put them in exactly the same car as Lewis Hamilton, Hamilton beats them. For me.
Yeah. Also, I've got some other F1 news, which pretty groundbreaking, really. Pushing the limits of technology, and that's the new Formula 1 Codemasters game just come out.
Oh wow!
All right, what's the next story?
Kid out. I'm going to go for a few of them or the YouTube comments. We've had more. Interestingly, we've had more comments on this podcast than any other. I think.
I think that's just frustration. That video at the start really did kick it off.
Yeah. Let's see. McLaren had problems again. Yes, they did, Drew. But to be fair, they were very, very good this weekend. Steve F1 saying it was too dull to get pissed off. Rich Blue saying, be right back, got to record something, to which Steve F1 said, is that Love Island? And then, get this though, Steve F1, this has got to be the comment of the day, right? I would still watch that F1 race again in full than watch Love Island.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Now, Rich has made a couple of interesting points. He says, we all moan about F1, threaten to boycott it, fans in general, not the people here. Or some of us have. But we still all watch it at the end of the day. And he then goes on to say, and imagine how fun it will be when other teams start getting more competitive. Now, that's the bit that obviously I'm always hopeful for, that other teams are going to make it more competitive. Or, for example, now this is where for me, it proves that Paul Ricard is not the track to race on. Most of the race locations, right, you may still have Mercedes run away with it. You may have Ferrari hunting them a bit. You may have Red Bull there to pick up any pieces, but the rest of the pack are fighting. There was no rest of the pack fighting here.
Until the last lap. Because somebody's car was having problems.
So that's why, for me, Paul Ricard needs to fucking disappear. Yeah, great. Yeah. It's got a runway right next to the track and blah blah. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but no one can afford to fucking land there.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear that? They were talking about it on the practice commentary.
Yep.
Right.
And on Ted's notebook.
Yeah. To land a Boeing 737 at Gatwick Airport costs, what was it, about
$4,000.
$4,000. But to land a Learjet at the runway next to the Paul Ricard circuit on race weekend costs $12,000.
Yeah, the landing fee is $12,000.
Yeah.
Well done.
Fucking yeah. Okay, let's get on to our... Maybe that's what we should have done as one of our predictions. How much does it cost to land at Paul Ricard? Okay, on to our predictions. Anyway,
that's what I don't understand though, right? About Paul Ricard before we do the predictions. For years, they didn't race at Paul Ricard because the road structure wasn't good enough for the road infrastructure wasn't good enough for all the fans getting to the racetrack. Or maybe they've decided to make the race shit so no one has to turn up. Then they've got no race fans to turn up.
Wow.
Well, anyway, that was a side thought. But anyway, they put Eric Boulier in charge of the traffic.
Oh, I thought you meant in charge of catering.
No, they've put him in charge of like logistics and stuff to do with getting in and out.
I'm gonna restart it up. It may come live again.
Oh, I thought you meant in charge of catering.
No, they've put him in charge
of a few seconds back.
Logistics and stuff to do with getting in and out.
I'm gonna restart it up. It may come live again.
Yeah, it's still running. You're all right, don't worry.
Okay, that is weird because I have. Okay, viewers, if you can hear us properly and you didn't lose the live stream, let us know.
Messages.
Yeah, because I just had a problem saying I got disconnected from the server. So if there are problems there, I do apologise. Hopefully everything is all right. But basically, yeah, my software stopped streaming, but I did restart it again. So you may just want to check, James, check again actually to see if it is.
If you show up for a minute, I'll be able to hear what he's saying. Oh yeah, I can hear it saying viewers if you can hear us properly.
All right, okay. Yeah, Rich saying it dropped out and then came back in immediately. Yeah, okay, so you're talking about Eric... Eric
Boulier.
You know what? It's the French Secret Service. You started slagging off Eric Boulier and the fucking internet connection went... Fuck me.
Well,
or is it because of slagging off Sky and I'm on Sky Internet? Shit.
What I was going to say, though, is if they made the landing fees cheaper at that airport for that weekend, they can put it up every other fucking week of the year for all I care. But for that weekend, if they put it cheaper and people can land at the fucking circuit rather than having to drive there, no traffic problems.
Yeah, but that just makes it easier for them to keep going back. The thing that if you want to keep racing there, you need to put down some.
Put down Vettel.
put shitloads of stuff there where it's a penalty for going off the circuit in any way.
The thing is, as well, with that particular track, there are multiple different. I mean, I thought actually Steve, you had a contender for best part of the race. I've got a new best part of the race. When Ted turned round and said, "I'm sure there's a switch somewhere to turn the sprinklers on." Then he actually went to find out where the switch was, and they wouldn't tell him, but they did tell him that it's actually on a section of the circuit that isn't used in the Grand Prix.
No, that's not quite what they said. This must be where you fell asleep. It's on the 3.2 mile circuit. So it's on a different layout of circuit, but it's 80% of the F1 circuit.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So it would still, which I think that would be an even better idea, to make 80% of the circuit wet and 20% of it dry.
It'd have made for a better fucking race, that's for sure.
Somebody should have gone, whoops, and slipped it on.
Yeah. Oh no, I've fallen over. Right, okay, should we do these predictions? We've tried a few times, but let's get them done. So Steve's going to earn about fucking 50 points. Let's see. Steve said Hamilton to get pole position. He did. So that's a point for you. James said it'd be Bottas. Unfortunately, not quite there again, did he? Why the fuck did I say Vettel?
7.
Steve said Hamilton would win, so that's another point. James said it'd be Vettel, so that's no points. And I said it'd be Bottas, so no points. We went for 4th, 5th and 6th this time instead of the podium 3. So who was 4th, 5th and 6th?
4th was Vettel. No, hang on. Was it? No, it was Max. Max was 4th.
Oh, yeah.
I'll check. I'll check on the official F1 website.
It was Max, Vettel, Sainz.
Let's see if he's right. Max, Vettel. It was Max, Vettel, and Sainz. Steve said Max.
In 4th place, I said Max.
Yeah, Leclerc and Gasly. So you get 2 points for Max.
Yeah.
Because you got him in the right place. James said it'd be Bottas, Max Verstappen.
But in the wrong place, yeah.
But it's still a point. And Ricardo.
Ooh, not far off.
Yeah, and I said, why the fuck did I pick these three? Ricardo, Leclerc, and Hulkenberg.
Because Renaults were going to come really good because they got great upgrades,
Yeah,
you said.
I did, yeah. Well, they did in the McLaren. First to crash out, nobody did they? No.
I wanted to say nobody.
I know, and that's why we stopped you. So, let's see. Hamilton said... No, Hamilton didn't say fuck all. Steve said it'd be Hamilton. James said it'd be...
I was edging my bet.
James said it'd be Grosjean, and so did I. Now, admittedly, I did chuckle to myself when Grosjean retired. He's not a very good driver, unfortunately, and the French Grand Prix is nothing but a curse to him. Okay, do you remember what the next prediction was?
Tick of the day?
No, that was the last one.
No.
What position will Kubica finish?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, I can tell you, one of us has scored a point here.
Okay, what position did he finish, first of all?
18th.
That'd be me, then.
No, it wouldn't, because you said 17th.
Oh, fucking hell. It's Dave, then. Because James went one less than me.
I said 19. James said 18.
Oh.
James gets a point.
Hey, come on.
You know, I'm on for a fucking duck here. Okay. Dick of the day. We're going to have to...
Danny Ricciardo.
Did I say mine?
Oh.
I always say mine.
You know what? We've got a few people listening and a few people commenting. So, listeners, type up just the name who you would give Dick of the Day to. Because we need to decide who we would give Dick of the Day to. So, who would you give it to?
Ricciardo, for getting stupid penalties at the end of the race. Yeah. Okay, one penalty. One of the penalties was maybe a touch harsh, which you might say, but overtaking Raikkonen off the track was stupid. That was dickish.
No, I think if it were anybody else, I think Dick of the Day has to go, for me personally, Gasly, because he's just fucking wasting that seat.
Yeah, but that's every week. That's not just the day.
Well, I think to finish a full lap down, I think he was lapped, wasn't he?
Yes, because
I were lapped.
It was up to 7th, I think, was lapped.
Yeah.
Or 7th was lapped.
To be lapped, I mean, how long were a lap round there?
Minute 35, 36 in race pace, I think.
Minute 35, and Max Verstappen only finished about 20 seconds off the race lead. So Gasly, over the length of the race, was about 1 minute 10 slower than his teammate. That's a dick.
I'm struggling, you know, to think.
The race track were a bit of a dick.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Oh, I tell you what, I couldn't see it, but I were on toilet before the start race, and I could hear National Anthem, and I were in hysterics. It sounded like a load of kids and a load of perverts. It sounded like a load of kids going, and a load of old men going. I don't even know what the French. What was the French theme tune go like?
Theme tune. That's a good way. You have just doubly offended every French person everywhere.
Unlucky, you frogs.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
National Anthem. That's what it's called. Let me listen to it now, so I can just try and recreate it. I can't hear it, yeah?
You didn't need to, I did it for you.
Yeah.
What?
That sounds more like fucking Star Wars than fucking...
Someone's forgot what it sounded like when Alan Prost was on podium.
Well, Drew's American, so they do freedom fry, so they couldn't give a fuck about the French.
freedom fries.
They're all doing the same. Yeah. It was like that, but with a lot of kids going, and a lot of old men going, I'm like, this just sounds like a pervert's convention.
Could well be. Okay.
Anyway, dick of the day.
Yeah, Steve F1 says Grosjean for moaning about Ricardo for no reason. Drew says gross jeans. Rich Blue says Paul Ricard.
Grosjean moans about anybody going past him at all, just because he thinks there might be a possibility of him getting a penalty and it might promote him. That's the only reason he moans. It's not because, like, every time somebody overtakes him, he goes, "Oh, that was so dangerous." It's like,
interestingly, though,
if you think that's dangerous, pull over and go home to your wife and kids.
It's a good job he ain't got to race against his teammate.
Interestingly, though, when he got blocked in qualifying, he didn't complain about that.
Oh, we didn't hear about it.
No, he didn't. The interview afterwards.
Probably gagged him before he went out. Before he put his helmet on, Gunter Steiner was probably like, here, shoved a baguette in his face, and then like duct taped his face and went, go out there, do a lap, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, no. After qualifying, Natalie Pinkham interviewed him, and she said, "So was it frustrating being blocked?" And he told us, "Well, no. I saw a yellow flag. I slowed down. Then I saw the car off track. No, it didn't bother me." Now, admittedly, he fucked up his own lap later on, which ruined it for him for the rest of the weekend. But who cares? What's it got to do with Chilton? I'd rather have Chilton back in F1 now, just so that we could continue with that. Okay, so I am really struggling for someone to put through as who I would give Dick of the Day to, because I can agree in a way, Ricardo being a bit of a dick, but at the same time, he was pretty much the only entertainment from the whole race. So, from an entertainment perspective...
It could have overtook him, though, without going off the track. Could have gone the other way around.
Yeah, but the tyres are shit. The tyres are absolute dog shit. You heard Charles Leclerc, they were going, can you go quicker? He went, yeah, but I'll ruin the tyres and that's no good. So what does that tell you? The tyres are dog shit.
The thing is, right, do you know why they're all moaning about tyres at the moment, actually? Because there's more to this than meets the eye.
Because something about the tread gauge is too small, and then
it's too fat. They want a smaller. No, it's too small. They want a fatter gauge.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Because
they temperature.
No, it's not that. They feel that Mercedes are able to switch these lower tread gauge tyres on easier than all the other teams, and giving the Mercedes an advantage over all the other teams.
Yeah,
but when they had a bigger tread gauge last season, which team won the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Would it make a fucking difference? No.
It wouldn't.
They're just clutching at straws, thinking, is there any way we can beat them?
Well, I can tell you for our predictions of who Dick of the Day would be, Steve said it'd be Perez, and I wouldn't give Perez Dick of the Day because... From a physical, what he didn't do anything wrong as such, but he should have been told by his team, you need to let some cars back past, you have gained an advantage. So that's not his fault. Yes, he should have had the penalty, but that's not his fault.
Let's run through the field. So Hamilton won. There's no stains on him, so he's not a dick. Bottas came second, didn't really hear out from him, pumped all the candle, but still finished second, so can't really say out for him. Charles Leclerc finished third, almost got second, but just not enough.
So hang on. Bottas Dick of the Day. You could say Bottas Dick of the Day because he didn't realise that the safety car, virtual safety car period had ended.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so then that's why Charles to get up.
He had a 7-second gap to Charles Leclerc. And you only realised that the safety car, virtual safety car, had ended
when he saw Big Red Dot getting massive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We started.
Right, Bottas gets dick of the day then, and none of us get any points. That's dealt with.
Didn't you realise
No.
when you were watching, like, how the fuck did he get that close all of a sudden?
No, I was that fucking bored and walking around to stay a fucking wake, and I was that fucking angry at not watching fucking action. I was like, well, yeah, okay, he's close, but he's not going to overtake him.
To start off with, the commentary team thought that it was Bottas's tyres that took longer to get back up to temperature.
Oh god!
After the virtual safety car, but
have you actually seen that last lap of racing from off board with the helicopter all the way around the last lap?
I haven't. I can't say I remember it.
It's fucking amazing. I've just watched it now on Twitter. Formula One have just put it up 4 hours ago, and they've just put now about ... about that last lap, and shown the full thing from helicopter cam. It's fucking amazing because so going into the chicane, Ricciardo's gone a bit deep into the chicane. Lando's going right outside, but he's been forced off, so he's going off there. Raikkonen's gone up and underneath, and
I have seen it because they did
Lando. Yeah, but then they stopped into the next corner. Right now, Ricciardo's in front, Raikkonen's second, right up his arse. A bit of a gap to Hülkenberg. And then Lando Norris, with a dodgy car, tries it all the way round the outside.
Have you not seen that before? Have you not seen that before?
No, just now.
Ant did it on the Skypad. With Lando Norris stood next to him.
The thing Formula One, as a company, should be ashamed that they didn't have somebody overriding going, there's no happening there, get this on.
Yeah.
But anyway, with Bottas...
Dick of the day, cameraman.
With Bottas... All right. He said in an interview afterwards that he didn't expect the virtual safety car to be so short, the period to be so short, and was not ready for when it ended. It had nothing to do with switching his tyres back on or anything like that. Yeah. Because when you think about it, it was short.
You'd think the team would have gone go or something.
Yeah, it comes up on the dashboard. He must have been looking at the helicopter.
He must have been bored, thinking, how am I going to get home tonight?
He's probably having a nap. Okay, what that does for the points then, it means for I think the first time this season.
Who did you say for Dick of the Day, and who did James say for Dick of the Day?
Well, James said Magnussen, I said Vettel. So for the first time this season, we have a duck. And that is me with no fucking points. We then have James scoring 2 points and Steve scoring 4 points, which means that can't be right.
Am I on 40 something now?
Oh, actually, no, it is right. Steve's on 45, I'm on 22, and James is on 21.
At least I can win at fucking something.
Yeah.
I should get a gold star. On my shirt for the next podcast.
Now,
what do you mean by that? At least you can win at something. Are you a bit annoyed about what happened at the first race in your racing league?
No, not at all. It's just like I'm fed up of being the bridesmaid.
Well,
every season in Dynamic GT League, I finish second. I finished runner-up.
You might finish third this season.
That's not going to happen. In fact, actually, it might happen. I've got to miss a race because I'm going on holiday. So I've been missing a race.
Oh, well, that's slam dunk.
So I'm not winning the championship this time.
It might be four.
The thing is, with the reverse grid order, anything could happen. Anything can happen. Okay, guys, we have a little bit of housework to do, and that is... Do we do predictions in case F1 excites us enough to come back and do another podcast next week?
What race is it? Austria.
Red Bull Ring.
That's another one where I'm a bit like, we'll make it longer. Yeah. Well, what about if we try to do what we said, where we watch the race and commentate at the same time? I think that's the only. Even though it'd be hard, it's the only way that I'll be tempted.
Yeah, can Dave's internet cope with streaming F1 and broadcasting and being on Skype?
Well, you see, I've got better internet now, so it's worth trying.
Well, apparently, I'll be getting fibre optic broadband installed at some point within the next 5 days. So hopefully, it's up and running before the race.
Yeah. Who is it you get your fibre? You're getting your fibre optic from?
Sky.
Right. Okay. just gonna say, it won't be full fibre optic. It'll be fibre optic to the box.
To the box, yeah.
It's fibre optic to the box, and that means it's not fibre optic to your house.
Yeah, it's not like Virgin.
Yeah, it's not quite like Virgin, but it is a lot better than what you'll be on at the minute.
Oh yeah, I mean, what am I on now? Is it something like 6 or 7 upload? It's like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you should be able to get about 70 to 80 uploads.
Yeah.
No, not upload. Download.
Download and 20 uploads. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
on Sky,
anything is better than what I've got, and even from being wired up with an Ethernet cable, I could see my car wobbling about in the first race. I was a bit like, oh no.
If you ask Bunsell, anything isn't better. Okay, let's quickly then do the predictions. If you're listening, feel free to give us a couple of suggestions for predictions that we can do. So while we go through the first 4, excuse me, Steve, who are you going to go for pole position?
Hamilton.
Excuse me, James.
Hang on, I thought we said we can't do podium, can we? We've got to do 4th, 5th, 6th.
Well, we can pick a different 3 this time. We could do 6th, 7th, 8th, or whatever. We could pick any there.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, right? We've got pole, right? But it's pretty much going to be fucking Hamilton every race, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Which means it's pretty much Steve scoring points. So I'm thinking maybe we need to change that. Instead of it being pole, maybe it should be
who's going to qualify 4th.
4th, yeah. Who's going to qualify 4th? We've got to give ourselves a chance against Steve's fucking ridiculous double point score he's got on us at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Who? Q 4th. Okay, so Steve, who's going to qualify 4th? Yours, Hamilton.
I was debating whether to say that.
If you were to say Hamilton, and it was Hamilton, I'd be fucking pissed.
Leclerc.
Okay. Now, interestingly, Red Bull Ring is a track where Hamilton historically has not been very lucky. James, who do you think is going to finish 4th?
Finish 4th or qualify?
Sorry, qualify 4th.
Lando Norris.
Ooh.
I've gone for a weird one.
Dave, who do you think is going to qualify 4th?
Max Verstappen. No, I meant to say Max Chilton.
I'm going to go with Vettel. Okay, who's going to win the race?
Hamilton.
I'm going to go Verstappen. I think he's going to do it this time.
He has won there before, hasn't he? Yeah. When Hamilton had a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to go for 4th, 5th and 6th, 4th, 6th, 7th and 8th. I want to know who's going to finish 11th, 12th and 13th.
11th, 12th and 13th?
Mm-hmm.
Are you waiting for me to say first?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one, is it?
No, it's not really. Alright, okay. I'll go with Magnussen 11th.
Yep.
Perez 12th.
Yep.
Albon.
Interesting selection. Okay, James.
Stroll, Kvyat, and I don't even think the Haas are anywhere good enough to get it in there. I'm trying to think. Perez.
Okay. I'm going to go for Hulkenberg. Sainz.
And I think we're still doing the same thing where they don't necessarily have to be in that order, but you get points if they're in and 2 points if they get it in the right place.
Yep. So Hulkenberg, Sainz, and Grosjean is what I'm going to go for. Okay, first to crash out, Steve.
What, you saying I'm going to crash out first?
Yep. Maybe that'll have to change to who's going to fall asleep first. You can't say no. We've already banned nobody.
Yeah. Stuart's coming around slapping Steve in a minute.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say nobody.
He couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it, no. First to crash out. Kimi Räikkönen.
Ooh. James?
Giovinazzi.
Okay. I'm going to go for Gasly. Don't know why.
I'm going to say Gasly. I don't know why I changed it. Fuck it, I'll say Gasly as well.
Oh, you're changing, are you? Okay, I was just trying to read the
I'll say
YouTube
Gasly
comments.
Well, fuck it, I'll say Gasly as well then.
Fuck off! No, you know what? Your answer's already locked in. You got Kimi, you've got Giovinazzi, I've got Gasly. Right.
Okay.
Okay, check the YouTube comments, see if anyone has suggested any predictions. You're first of the rest, James. Oh, I mean, Steve. You're even a bridesmaid in his compliment. Let's see. Rich said do 9th, 10th and 11th. I didn't see that, but we've gone for 11th, 12th, 13th. Oh, no, basically it's just everybody giving their predictions. When I said predictions, I meant give us a prediction, like to say who's going to pit on lap 22.
Yeah.
Everyone is welcome to have a go at going for the predictions as well, but I'm not typing them all down, guys, because I could be here all week. So we'll have a think about some potential predictions.
As in Dick of the Day.
Yeah, I mean, Dick of the Day is always a safe one. Right, give me a second. I need to change
do we do Team Dick of the Day?
What about where will Gasly finish?
Well, according to Dave, he won't.
Yeah, but if he did finish, he didn't crash out. Where do you think he's going to finish?
We're not doing Gasly, you bastard. I might have had my headset off for a minute, but I still fucking heard you trying to stitch me up.
How interested will Dietrich Mateschitz look? He always when races on at the Red Bull Ring. He's just up in the Red Bull Ring, just chatting, going, "What we're gonna do later?"
I've got a prediction we can do. Who will receive the first penalty?
But nobody is not allowed.
I am nobody.
Who will receive the first penalty? Perez.
Hang on a minute.
Is this going to be the first penalty over the weekend?
Race.
And is it
in the race?
Is it just the race?
In the race. Yeah.
So I wanted to just make sure it didn't include like gearbox penalties and
Who
stuff.
did you say, Steve?
No.
I didn't say anyone.
Oh.
It was James that said someone.
All right, well...
I said Perez.
All right. Okay, Steve, who are you going for?
Max Verstappen.
Okay. I'm going to go for... You know what, I was going to say Hamilton, but he ain't going to get a penalty.
Now you've said that, you know he will.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm not going to go with Hamilton. I'm going to go with Magnussen. He's got to get penalised. I mean, I don't know if any of you noticed, but when any of the pundits were talking about, like, with track limits rules and people saying, well, the rules need to be changed, blah, 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 but at the same time, the rules are there to keep people like Magnussen in line. I thought, yeah, too fucking right. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to come up with another one because these guys are talking about which track will it rain at. We could do that, but...
what lap will it rain on?
Which corner will it rain at first?
Which corner...
Which direction will the wind be blowing?
Which corner will Ted turn the sprinklers on at?
What about excluding the first lap? How many overtakes will we see into turn 3?
Oh, jeez.
That means we're gonna have to count.
I was going to say that. You do realise we would have to keep account of it.
Well, we're going to be watching it, aren't we?
Yeah, I know, but it's easy to end up just
on camera. Yeah. That we see on camera.
We could.
Into turn 3 is a bit harder than turn 2.
Hang on, which corner is turn 3, James?
The third one.
You know what?
Which one is that?
So you've got turn 1 where it's awkward.
That's up the hill, up from the race start, yeah. Where's turn 2?
You've got that. That's that hairpin up at top of the hill.
No, it's not.
It's not that wiggly bit. I don't count that. That's not
turn 2's the kink.
I tell you what, guys, we're not doing that prediction because Steve F1 has given us one.
Oh.
Fastest pit stop. Who will have the fastest pit stop?
Oh.
And we do it by team. So which team will have fastest pit stop? Because they do give the pit stop awards, don't they? So we would be able to find that one out. So that's what we're going to go for. So, Steve, which team is going to have fastest pit stop? And stop Googling who's had the most of them.
Would I do that?
Yes.
I'll say Williams. Because they've got to be quick at summer. Fuck me.
I'll go with more. I was going to say Williams, but I won't. I'll go with Red Bull.
Right, I am going Williams, right? And not because James said it, but because Williams did have the fastest pit stop this weekend.
That was a technical error.
No, not the 1.8 or whatever it was.
That came up before the car had even stopped.
Yes, no, not that one. They did. They did actually have the fastest pit stop of the weekend.
They've got to be good at summer, haven't they?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it made me think, right, when I saw that, I don't know if you remember, because it would have been over a year ago, but when we was talking about McLaren's demise and how they were supposedly on their way back up, on one of the podcasts I said, yes, the car may be heading in the right direction, but I don't think the members of the team are, because they were making mistakes in pit stops and stuff like that. So even if the car was getting back up to standard, the team wasn't. Whereas at Williams, the car isn't up to standard, but the team clearly is, because for them to be getting fastest pit stops means that they are still working properly. They've just got a shit fucking car.
Well, something's fundamentally wrong. I mean, I think it were only about 17 laps in, and they were getting lapped already by Hamilton. They've got the same engine.
Well,
what the fuck aero they've got? I don't know.
One of the things that I did see an interview with George Russell before the weekend, and he basically said that there pretty much hasn't been any updates on this car, or any updates that they have brought haven't gained them enough to close the gap. It's just allowed them to keep the gap as it is. He said it won't be until like sort of the mid-European stages that they can bring bigger upgrades. But I did see as well, I think it was today or yesterday, I think it was today, that, what's his name, little guy, that was on gardening. No, that was on gardening leave. Fucking hell, James, don't have a shower with your
Paddy
fucking
Lowe.
Skype on. Yeah, Paddy Lowe, that's it. He has confirmed that he is not going to be returning to Williams.
I thought you were going to say Alan Titchmarsh.
No.
He likes a bit of gardening leave.
Yeah, he does. So does Charlie Dimmock.
Monty Don. Ooh, Charlie Dimmock. What's happened to her?
She's
train wreck.
She has.
Don't tell me she's had cancer.
No, she's still on TV.
She's still on TV,
yeah,
but
no, I saw it over there and I'm like, oh.
She's like us, James. She likes her food.
She used to be a sex symbol in the 90s.
Yeah, she did.
She won't bump her nose if she falls over.
Yeah.
Well,
no, she would.
Fucking huge.
She never wore bras when she was working.
Yeah, I remember on Fast Show they used to take Mick because they'd always turn around and there'd be this Spanish version of Ground Force. It was called Grando Forso. And this blonde bird would just turn up topless with some pot implants. And they'd turn around the camera and go, nice dimmocks.
Bloody hell. Oh, well. Right, anyway. Go on, James, you were about to say something.
Don't you think that I think when we end the podcast we need to do a replay of that video?
Yeah.
Because I do think that Ferrari chat summed up what's wrong with the sport.
Oh, God,
even if it was completely wrong, in my eyes, that's what's wrong with the sport. Ferrari have got a stranglehold over the sport, and even though it's dog shit, they don't care.
But not only that, Mercedes have also got a stranglehold over the sport, and Red Bull have got a say in the sport, and Williams have got a say in the sport, and Racing Point only having an opinion. Haas don't even have the opinion. So, yeah.
Well, they were saying that half the teams haven't said anything, which I found funny, because I bet you a tenner, Haas and Alfa Romeo are pretty much, say anything, you can fuck off.
Well, it's not that. It's the fact that...
You agree with us, right? Because you are us, yeah?
No, but they don't even get to say anything because they've not been in the sport long enough.
Yeah.
They don't get a vote. They don't get a say. There's no point in them saying anything because it's not going to be taken into consideration. And for me, it doesn't matter whether you've been in the sport for one race or 100 years. You're involved. You should have a say.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you should have. I think all teams should have a say, but taken at a pinch of salt. So you take on board what they say, but then you have an extra different governing body that go, well, the team, let's say, for example, Williams said this, so can we try and incorporate? And you go through your list of what you want. And if you can try and incorporate it.
Yep.
But if it doesn't fit with your vision of Formula 1, then unfortunately, it's gone. And it doesn't matter. Every single team is treated equally. And Ferrari are not treated any better than anybody else. And unfortunately, Ferrari seem like, to me, I think Ferrari want to prove that they can out-engineer Ferrari at some point. They can out-engineer
Mercedes
at some point.
Yeah.
With this hybrid engine. And they know that they've got the better engine right now in a straight line, but they want to prove it by winning a championship.
Well, interesting.
Which is why in 2021, the engine regulations that were going to change to make them more simple to bring the field together, Ferrari have gone, nah, we've got the best engine, we're keeping it.
But the thing is, though, I actually don't think they have got the best engine, right? Because you look at what Red Bull did when they were in championship winning form, right? They had the fastest car.
Not the fastest engine.
Not in a straight line, but they had the fastest car. They sacrificed straight line speed for cornering speed. And I think that's what... Hang on. Don't make me mute, yeah. I think Mercedes have basically gone, about 2 years ago, basically gone, look, we don't need all of our straight line speed, because if we're killing everybody on straight line speed, let's sacrifice a bit and have a bit of extra downforce in the corners. And
yeah, but I think Ferrari have gone, just go mental with the engine. That's the only way we can beat Mercedes. Mm-hmm. And they have gone mental with the engine, and it's paid off. But they've not worked on the aerodynamics, which is now showing up that they're amazing in a straight line, as was shown in Canada. I mean, Hamilton, even with DRS Open, could not get past Vettel.
Yeah.
So that just proved how good that Ferrari engine is in a straight line. But in the corners, at a circuit like this, no chance.
But the thing is, I mean, at Canada, that was the thing. The Ferrari had the speed to keep the Mercedes behind it with DRS, but the Mercedes had the cornering ability to stay right up his arse. And it did allow for the cars to be closer, but that's because the Mercedes was running more downforce. But anyway, there was something else I was going to mention as well. I've fucking forgotten what it was now. Oh, well.
Steve's Racing League?
Nah.
Plug that. Plug that. No, that first race was a good race, apart from me almost fucking it up.
Yeah. Well, I didn't release. I was tempted as to whether to release your initial reaction to the car reveal, right? And I decided I can't do it on the DGT YouTube channel because it was, oh, I'm sorry, I've just jizzed. And also, I did wonder about releasing the fact that it took us 3 takes to get going.
What?
Yeah.
Like 3 attempts to actually record the reveal?
No, not the reveal. The race. We started the race.
I got about 3 laps in every time, and then started stuttering, or I was trying to come up with corner names I'd thought of before, but then completely forgot. So then I'm like, that corner there, which is called
fuck, I forgot what it's called. Oh fuck, can we start again? By which point I can't say no because he's just gone. Oh fuck, what's it called? Fuck.
So if James wants to start again, all he's got to do is swear repeatedly.
No. Yeah, I just swear about 5 times, and that was the trick.
But I have warned James, for any of the DGT drivers that are listening. I have warned James, right? I have said to him, well, because he asked, I have said to him that I won't call him Mandy on the commentary. But the first time he does it by accident on commentary, I'm doing it and it's sticking.
Oh my god!
I think I need a new sponsorship and just have Mandy down the side of my car.
Yeah. Maybe I could do a new decal for everyone to have on their cars, couldn't I? On the back of the car, so every time James sees the back of a car, it says "Oh Mandy," and subconsciously puts it in his head.
No.
Or not "Oh Mandy," you're Mandy. You are Mandy. But yeah, anyway, so Steve's got a racing league on GT Sport, which has plenty more action in it than Formula 1. So if you actually want to watch some action-packed racing, feel free to check out Dynamic GT League on YouTube. Because it is very action-packed racing, and we'll be racing at Monza this week, and there will be a lot of overtaking to watch. So
maybe some controversial overtakes as well.
There may be some controversial accidents as well. But what I will say is, I mean, a number of the drivers in the practice sessions I've been seeing have been driving very, very well. I mean, for example, I know there's one of the drivers, Fluffy Planet, who he has been approaching with a new driving style of being a little more cautious, and it is working, right? But I think for him, unfortunately, at the moment, he sees it as, I'm being cautious and I'm either getting hit or I'm being overtaken. But the thing is, you start off by being cautious and then you realise, I can consistently go faster than I was before. And then you can start pushing the limits a little bit because you know where is safe. You know where is safe. Okay, push it a little bit. Okay, that's not safe. Right, bring it back a little bit, and you can dramatically improve in that respect.
Oh, well, that's it. I mean, you can drive more cautiously and end up protecting your tyres so much that the guys that you, in the moment, think, oh, pardon me, in the moment think, oh, bloody hell, I've just been overtaken. They're well quicker than me. Well, they're ragging the tyres, so they're going to have to pit. So you're going to stay out, you're going to extend your stint, and then you're going to have better tyres later on in the race. I think
James, are you saying the drivers should look after their tyres?
Well, I'm just saying that is if it's not working, being aggressive, and you're finding that you're not ending in a position you feel you should be.
Yeah.
If you change your approach, you can change it all. I mean, there's only certain drivers that can rag the tyres to shit and still do a semi-decent job, because I know myself, there's plenty of times where I've ragged the tyres and I've found myself at the back with 4 minutes to go thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, I've pushed my heart out here. Where, in a way, it's worked out better to know when to switch that aggressive driving style on and when to switch it off.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with it now. I mean, look at the last race. I mean, we were a bit too aggressive in turn one, and mental.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to check something now, by the way. This is just touching back on Formula 1 for a second. I'm just trying to confirm if I am right or not. But I'm pretty sure there was something missing on the Ferrari. Or not actually missing, it just wasn't there. But I'm trying to confirm it, right? And that is Mission Winnow.
Yeah, they had a lot of 90 years.
Yeah, Mission Winnow contract has been... it's come to an end, basically. Did you not see the thing on Facebook this week where it said about Vettel?
Yes, I did.
Wanting to use up that space, so he changed the Mission Winnow to I1.
Yeah, I did see that. But also some other sort of graphical news for you. This is actually from a couple of races ago. I think it'd be from Canada. Do you remember me telling you about Haas and Rich Energy being sued for breach of trademark with the Rich Energy logo?
Yeah, basically the stag horns, whatever. Yeah.
From Canada, it was not on the car. Because now I don't know whether it's a case of because of the lawsuit they've had to take it off, or because they think they're going to lose the lawsuit they've
lost
off.
the lawsuit.
All right. Well, it's
they're not allowed to use it in branding purposes, which means any product they've still got out there with that logo on can still be sold.
Mm-hmm.
But for advertisement purposes, like for Formula 1 or
other sports they are involved in,
anything else, or even TV advertising, anything like that, they're not allowed to show it.
Yeah.
So they're just using the word in Rich Energy with an underline.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I think, the race before, which I think it must have been Barcelona. I think it was. The news had come out like a day before the race, the qualifying at Barcelona or something.
Mm-hmm.
Was it qualifying? It might have actually been practice session 1.
Yeah.
And there was a radio communication problem with one of the cars. Might have been.
No, that was Monaco. That was Monaco. Where they black flagged them.
They black flagged him. Mainly that was because they had a radio problem and they couldn't tell him to come back to the pits, and they had a problem with his car. But the commentator at the time was saying, "Oh, I wonder if this is because they're driving around showing the trademark, the logo when there shouldn't be," but it had nothing to do with that.
All right. James had just dropped out of the call. He's come back in. Steve F1 is asking, do they have any products? Actually, yes, they do. The Rich Energy drink.
It's a Red Bull style drink, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been available in America for a while, but as Rich says, you can buy it on Amazon, and you can actually buy it direct from their website. And when we first heard of Rich Energy, we'd never heard of them, so we did Google search them live on air to have a look, and it was quite a fancy kind of like, oh, black and gold looks kind of smart. What is it? But when you look online at their website, it was like, you don't just buy a Canada drink, you buy a Canada drink in a presentation case and all this kind of stuff. So it must be fucking rocket fuel or something. Either that instead of bull semen, and it's probably fucking whale semen, which makes me think I saw a fucking brilliant picture on Facebook this week, a picture of a fucking whale's penis that said whales ejaculate 70,000 gallons of semen and you wonder why the sea is salty.
What I was just thinking is, the spokesperson who's got that massive beard, what if it's his sperm?
Oh,
he's the company owner.
Yeah, he is the owner. He looks like a Hell's Angel biker, but yeah, he's a company owner. Right, okay, I was going to mention something else. I know there was something else I was going to mention. I completely fucking forgotten what it was. So I think the best thing to do... Oh, that was it. Any of the DGT guys, make sure you check out Blacklight Retribution on the PlayStation Store. It is free to download. Download it and we'll see if we can do some killing of each other on there to get rid of some of our poor F1 frustrations. In a few moments' time, I will replay the video that we played at the start of the podcast, so if you haven't seen it, feel free to watch. It's about 6 minutes long, but it's worth the watch. And if you have seen it, then you won't have to hang about when we say goodbye.
Yeah, so just go into the search bar and just type in Fleshlight Retribution and I'll see you on
Fleshlight Retribution.
I thought it was a black fleshlight.
You really fucking put me off now, you bastard.
Got you thinking of fleshlight.
Actually, you got me thinking about a story that I mentioned to James the other day, but I'd said I don't want to say it publicly, so I'm not going to. Yes, okay, so this Sunday, if we were to decide that we were going to do like a live podcast while the race is on, basically it would be in the same way that we do it at the moment. It would just be sort of at the time of the race, and what I would probably say is that we probably wouldn't come live until, I don't know, probably 10 minutes
before lights out.
Well, I was going to say about 10 minutes before lights out. So
yeah.
Lights out at 15 the hour, so probably any time.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure lights out at 10 past.
No, it's the rolling formation lap starts at 10 past.
Oh, right. Well, that's 10 minutes before that, basically, is what I meant.
Oh, I thought it was 15. I must be wrong. Oh, well.
Well, it might be about 15 that the race actually starts, but it's 10
But
past.
not only that,
formation lap
James
starts.
is probably watching on a big delay.
Yeah, true. Yeah, 5
because of his
minutes.
internet so slow.
Yeah, it's all them videos he records. So I just got thinking then. I remember I was watching a YouTube video of live streamers that got caught by surprise. And one of them was of a guy, right? He sat there with his laptop open, cracking one off, not realising he'd fucking started his live stream and the camera was on him. So he's cracking one off, finishes, fucking sort of closes his fucking porn page that he's watching, then realises he's online and goes, "Hello everybody," and just starts his show. And it's like, hang on a minute, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure the people do that for publicity.
Well, quite possible.
Right, we know what we need to do then to get more viewers. Dave, you need to start cracking one off.
No, you're all right, thanks. I know I might do a fucking blog called Dave Gets Wood, but I ain't doing that, mate. Rich says, go on at midday, the big pre-race podcast. I don't think I could sit there. I sometimes struggle to watch all of the pre-show at the moment because a lot of it is so repetitive of what they've already talked about in the practice sessions. In all honesty, I tend to have the pre-show stuff on while I'm doing other things, like whether it be cooking or cleaning or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I could not sit there through another Claire Williams interview talking about how much she loves the team and how much it's not going to be long until they're back at the front. I just feel like saying to her, just fuck off. I'm sorry. You've had, how many years has she been in charge?
1, according to Gizmo.
But
no.
I think it was around 2015 that she became team principal. And I'm sorry, in football terms, how long would a football manager last?
Oh, if that was a relevant or a comparative situation, you'd be looking at months.
Yeah.
Not years.
And this is the thing. It's all well and good having the Williams name in your back pocket for a bit of stability. But there's only so long before you need to start looking at the company as a whole and its survival.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, if you set yourself, if fair enough, if she went into the board and the board said to her, look, you've got 2 years to get us at least comfortably into the midfield. Right now, we're finishing a minute off everybody else. We're a joke. So we're giving you a fair amount of time. We're giving you 2 years to get us into that midfield pack. We want to be fighting above the Toro Rosso around the Renault area. You've got 2 years to do it. Otherwise, you're out on your ass. I think that's what needs to happen at Williams.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Now, interestingly, considering that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, James did not want to talk about F1, we've managed to do a 2-hour fucking podcast. Now, interestingly, I mean, Steve F1 is saying as well, he used to watch all the pre-race stuff, but he doesn't bother now. I used to watch it avidly, and I used to be excited about watching it. But not anymore. And I don't know if that's because they do cover a lot more in the practice sessions now, and a lot of it is repetitive on race day. But also, it's I think part of it is, well, if I'm going to sit and be bored for an hour and a half and 2 hours, I don't want to necessarily extend that to 4 hours, so I can do other stuff while I've got that on in the background. Or like if I know I'm having a late night and I've got to set my alarms to get up for the race, I'm not going to set my alarms to get up for the pre-race stuff. I'm going to set my alarms to get up in time for the race.
I mean, I've got to say, I did see when Sky first got the rights to Formula 1, I'm not being sexist here, but they used to have that pretty fit woman on it.
Mm-hmm.
What were her name?
Georgie Thompson.
Yeah. She didn't know anything. She didn't know a front end of a Formula 1 car, the back end of one. But it didn't matter. It kept you engaged. She was like, oh, she's all right.
But no, not only that, she showed interest in it, so she was willing to learn, and she made it entertaining.
Yeah, but then when she left, they didn't really. I mean, like I said, best person to get in there to get me to watch build up and the after show. If you got Rachel Riley in there, you've done the job. But right now, as a lad, you might. I find the best entertainment from
involves women.
Will Buxton's YouTube video.
Will Buxton is brilliant.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He should be.
Gets down that point, gets into it, and he doesn't have the company. He doesn't put the company of Formula 1 above himself. If he's got an opinion, he'll just say it.
He's someone that could easily host the F1 whole production. He could. He's got a voice you can listen to as well. Yeah, and he's got the charisma, and he's got the knowledge.
He's got the knowledge, the experience. Okay, he didn't actually race in Formula 1, but he's had the GP2 experience.
Yeah. I mean, he can do it all pretty much. He can do commentary. He can do analysis. When Nicky Lauda died, the piece he did on that was fucking brilliant. He
you
has
know,
the.
You know what? I was just thinking.
I don't know. I'll tell you what.
You've got Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond who have just said we're no longer doing this format of Top Gear. We might do some specials. Imagine getting them to host Formula 1 just for a year for a trial.
You know what? It would actually be quite interesting as long as they weren't shackled. Because if it was shit, they would say it was shit.
You just get them to show up for race day. That's it. They don't have to do all practice. They don't have to do all monotonous stuff. They just show up for race day. For going up and down grid and interviewing people. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Interestingly, Steve F1's saying Amaze Channel 4 or Sky have never hired Buxton. Well, it was Will Buxton did used to do the GP2 commentary on Sky.
And he also did a midweek show where he talked to another fit lady from Sky, but then they didn't hire him back, which is a shame.
Yeah. Now, I think one of the reasons is that because I think Will Buxton is quite opinionated, and I mean I listened to him on the.
I think it's because he goes off script.
Yeah, he's more. Thinking about it actually, I'm sure he did. Yes, he did. He did. Was it F1 practice sessions earlier in the season? He did a couple of them. Or is it GP2? He may have done like Formula 2 as it's known now. But I know you could tell that he was not going on a script. I think he wasn't the main commentator. It was Formula 2 because they got the regular commentator, and Will Buxton basically said that he was listening in the media centre, realised he was on his own, thought he'd come and join him, right? And you could tell that the main guy was kind of trying to go by his script kind of thing, but Will Buxton was just going mental. And it was like, that's your excited commentator that you kind of need. And it's difficult in a way, like, for example, Crofty does go mental, right? And James could waffle about that forever, but I'm not going to let him. But Crofty's allowed to go a little bit mental because he's very good at what he does and he's established. The guy who's doing Formula 2 at the moment, he's still trying to ply his trade. So in a way, he probably feels like he's got to rein it in a little bit. Anyway, right, I think it's about time for us to end this podcast because we have gone on for a long, long time. And James has gone to see what Vicky's up to.
You're alright.
I hope you're not recording Vicky having a tinkle. Fucking hell. James, you're going to end up hung. Right, I hope that's not Vicky having a tinkle. If it is, I apologise wholeheartedly, Vicky. I will have to get a mute button for James. So right, it's time to bring this podcast to an end. So Sunday, we'll work out when we're going to come live. Personally, I don't even know what time the race is on at the moment. That's how little interest I've had recently. We're probably going to go and either do a little bit of driving on GT or... What on earth have you done, James?
That's amazing. You've been going on. Vicky having a wee. I'm sat in bath. And it's
What?
The water going down plug.
You're in the bath?
Yeah.
Okay, that's first. James doing the podcast in the bath. Fucking hell. Are you telling me that you've been washing your fucking cheesy knob in the bath while we've been doing the podcast?
Oh, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Jesus. Right, okay. If you haven't seen the video that we showed at the start, I'm going to play that for you in a moment. Check it out. It's fucking brilliant. That is if YouTube haven't fucking deleted it off us already. Okay, time to say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Have a good one, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Oh, I don't really want to see this replay. I'm missing the action. Come on. Turn this replay off. I'm missing the action. Turn this replay. Oh, fucking miss the action now! Fuck's sake!
Slap 17. On board.
Didn't need his balletic touch on the brake pedal, that one, did it? The DRS, they're going to have to shorten that next year. That's too powerful. They need to shorten the availability, make it start later.
Well, you could just get rid of it and use Dick. Yeah, think about that.
fucking miss the action now!
Just been thinking, who would pay to watch this? Jesus Christ. Dog shit.
I don't think he's going to get very far. Pushing for... High cool, but it's not good for the tyres, so no.
Probably a bit of daylight between his tyres and the white line side of the track.
Right, what would you do?
Fucking hell, come on.
Is starting the game on Carlos Sainz.
Come on, Lando, let's smack into your teammate. Let's have...
I can't do anything. I'm just waiting for Carlos to do anything. So if you want to tell him to pick up the pace, then just do that. I'm just stuck behind you.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not Sainz's fault. It's the fault of whichever twat said, let's have these regulations where your car cannot follow another fucking car. Fuck's sake. All you have is drivers going, I can't get through. Move him out of my way. This is the problem you have when you've got too many fucking people with interests in the sport rather than the sport being run by somebody who says, fucking, these are the rules, turn up, if you don't want to turn up, fuck off. Oh, this is going to be so close between this battle here. Oh, Lando, can you hold them off? There's 3 cars coming up behind you that are a lot quicker. Oh, this is going to be such a good battle to watch. Yeah, they really are gaining. This is a good 4-way battle here. For that Lando, Ricciardo, Raikkonen and then Hülkenberg. This is going to be so close. Oh, here we go, we're going on to that long straight now. Is Ricciardo close enough? What? I know this is close. But Lando's got a problem. Let's have a little look. This is what we're going to watch now. This is all we've got to watch. So rather than watching the battle, we're watching this. Wow. Fucking brilliant. Oh, there's so much action going on here. Look at this. Meanwhile, oh yeah, Leclerc's still behind Bottas, but let's keep watching. Yeah. Oh, well, look at this. How close is it? A 10 behind Hülkenberg. Oh, what a fantastic bit of racing. Yeah, cheers, Crofty. Cheers. Oh, well done, Lewis. Well done, Lewis. Oh, but yeah. Oh, what a fantastic bit of racing there to watch on the last lap.
Who is going to be able to stop this man?
Who cares?
All in there? The word that springs to my mind is masterclass.
And the word that springs to my mind is fucking boring.
That certainly looks like he's been through things today.
Well, he was put under pressure for the last couple of laps, certainly. He's under pressure because he's up against a teammate who's a multiple 5-time world champion.
Hey, Valtteri, I've got to say, that was the most boring race. Yes, it was so boring. I was watching on the TV.
Give it another go.
Yeah, just absolute. I've got to say, back in my day, no, listen to me, that was dog shite. That was.
This year with the regulations.
Yeah, the regulations are shite.
Sure, Valtteri Bottas has never been asked by a world champion what his weight is there. Racing. Here comes Lewis Hamilton to the cool down room.
No, there wasn't much happening in the race. Nothing happening in the race. Hey, Lewis, well done. That was fucking boring, I tell you. I watched it. Oh, Charles. Almost. Oh, Lewis. This kid here, he's got some good hair. Yeah. Yeah, that's youth for you. Hey. This is the best part of the race. This is all you pay for your Sky Sports subscription for. A bit of, you see my hat?
Valtteri about the tyre situation on the restart from the virtual safety car, and Valtteri, admitting that he found it hard.
Yeah, I think we fuck over this spot for the sake of our Ferrari brand. Who gives a shit?